Good morning. Welcome to our Thursday morning of Myths of Meditation. I'm Dr. Cheryl Carthouse, and this week is Naturopathic Medicine Week all across Canada, in which we're putting some efforts towards letting the public know just what naturopathic medicine is and who your NDs are. Our association in Nova Scotia is called NSAND, the Nova Scotia Association of Naturopathic Doctors, and you can find us at the NSAND Facebook, which is where you might be watching this. We also have an NSAND Instagram account, and you can find the website at nsand.ca. On that website, you can also search for a local naturopathic doctor who might be able to serve you in your area. So today we are exploring the fourth myth of mindfulness, or myth of meditation. And as I teach meditation, teach courses, retreats, all these sorts of things, we come across many, many questions and many, many ideas of what meditation is or what it might bring us, which aren't always true. And this particular myth, I believed for a long time. The myth is meditating will cause me to feel less bad and more good over time. The hard stuff will go away and not be there anymore. I definitely thought this at one point, that when I felt something really deeply, meditation would help it to affect me less in a way. Maybe I would cry less at movies, or I would be less emotionally reactive in a different way. That meditation would make me more resistant. That's what I thought. That meditation would make me more resistant to emotions or waves of emotions and feelings. Now, to explain this, it can get a little bit tricky, and I'm sure people's experiences are different. As with so many meditation insights, it's going to be much easier when you come across this insight yourself rather than me explaining it, but I'm going to do my best to explain what my experience has been. In my experience, it is not the case that this happens. Rather, we start to feel things much, much more deeply. The interesting part is we suffer less. So we feel an emotion very deeply, much more deeply, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt so much. We don't suffer as much. It's not a problem. So we experience something, we can feel super sad, and it's kind of okay. It's just not a problem that we're super sad in that same moment. Now, before this insight, I might feel way more ups and downs of the day, and depending on how much I liked those particular sensations and thoughts and emotions and feelings and all those things that you want to call when you're having those kinds of days, I would determine then if that day was good or bad. Now what happens is that we can go through full experiences, and those experiences are completely reframed. So when I feel super, super sad, I feel it really deeply. And yet there's so much compassion for myself and for other people that it's really sad and it's really okay. It's like we've brought in equanimity, that idea of allowing something to be fully as it is without needing to push it away or change it, that when the sadness comes on, it's sort of like this beautiful gift that we get to experience, rather than oh, this is sad and I don't like it, and it's having all these feelings and sensations in my body and it needs to go away. It's not like that anymore. Now it's like, oh my goodness, let me feel what sad is. Like there's almost a reframing excitement around it of like, wow, I didn't experience this part of it before, and now I feel it deeply and over here, and it's like a heart understanding. Not so much that I can put in words of what that emotion might be, but that I feel it fully and deeply, and that it makes more sense to me and my body. It makes more sense to be here. It makes more sense to experience it. And it is totally 100% okay. In fact, I definitely would prefer to feel that emotion in that way, where it ends up being a full experience rather than little snippets of things that I'm not enjoying or not liking. Now, that said, it's not necessarily that we enjoy all of the experiences, but they end up being really, really beautiful. Like a flower might not be totally your favorite, but in its own, it's still really beautiful. And if we learn to appreciate all of the details about that flower, maybe even learn where it came from, or learn what kind of history it is, learn what kind of insects thrive off of it, we might have more appreciation and almost start to really like this flower. Maybe it becomes, some cool thing that we get to start to tell other people about. And the experience of emotion can be very similar in that way, is that they end up being full, beautiful experiences, even though we may still label that sensation as sad or angry or frustrated or whatever it is. We experience that emotion fully, as deeply as possible. And then we keep equanimity with it, which is, again, that not pushing it away, not pulling it close, just allowing it to be exactly as it is. And it ends up being a totally beautiful experience. Kind of this like, wow, this is what it's like to be human. This is what we get to experience in these particular meat suits that we carry. It really does become beautiful. And in this sort of tradition that I have come from of meditation, we do things seated a lot. But there are lots of types of meditation. You can catch my Myths of Mindfulness from yesterday morning where we did a walking meditation. And we can take almost anything as our object of meditation as well. And so this morning, I would invite you to meditate with me. I'm going to be seated. You can do this however feels right for you. If you want to sit down or in whatever position is comfortable for you where you're at right now. Maybe you take the time to sit. You can stretch up your spine. You can wiggle your spine back and forth a little bit. And just allow it to be erect and straight, but also relaxed. So we're not stiff. We're just noting just the muscles that we are using to stack our spine on top of itself. So we can kind of hang out here without feeling like we're clenching our muscles in a stiff way. We're going to start with a check-in. Just get a baseline of how it is to be you in this moment. You can do this with your eyes open. You can do this with your eyes closed. It can be helpful to close your eyes to remove distraction from the outside world. Allow fewer things to inspire our mind to go off on tangents, but whatever suits you. If you want to have your eyes open, it may be helpful to keep your vision in the lower field. This helps us to be in much more of a somatic space, so our body and mind connect in a little bit of a better way. And just check in with what emotions, what mood is sitting in your body right now. With our meditation inquiries, we always want to be as curious as possible, and we never assume anything. So really look. Let go of any preconceived notions that you have of who you are and what it's like to be you, and just go and look. How does it feel to have that mood that you're carrying right now? Maybe check in, how busy is that mind, either with thoughts or imagery. And whatever you find there, allow it to be exactly as it is. For this time together, we're just going to not change anything. Just allow it to be there exactly as it is. It may feel difficult, it may feel uncomfortable, or it may be totally pleasant. And just be curious around, what does that really truly feel like? Let's explore that a little bit. then check in with your body and do a quick scan from our toes, up our legs, up our pelvis and our body, our arms, back, chest, neck, head. Just check in and see what are the sensations your body's experiencing, if that seems easy for you to access right now. And whatever you find there, allow it to be just exactly as it is, without changing it, without pushing it away, without having resistance to that experience. Open yourself up to whatever that experience is, even if it feels uncomfortable. Just allow it to be okay, because this is your reality. What we're doing is acknowledging that right now, this is how it is. We're just accepting that this is the truth. It is true that my hip is uncomfortable. Allow that to be so. For a brief time, just bring your attention to your breath. Notice the breath as it moves in. And notice the breath as it moves out. We may notice so many things about the breath. Your chest moves, the air feels cool, anything that you're noticing. Just bring your attention to that ebb and flow, the wave. And then bring your attention to your nostrils and to this little triangle between your nostrils and your upper lip. This is where we're going to focus our concentration, our awareness, to feel any sensations that occur as we take our breath in and as we exhale our breath out. And if it feels difficult to find a sensation there, take a deep breath in, a little forcefully, and see what sensation you notice around your nostrils at that time. And then you can forcefully take a breath out and see if you notice that wind you create along that little triangle above your upper lip, maybe through your nostrils. Maybe you feel your chest rise and fall. We know when we're inhaling and exhaling typically, and so we can bring our attention to that area and really focusly concentrate as hard as you can to just see if you notice something, anything. It could be a tickle or an itch. It could be the air moving. It could be a little quiver, perhaps, that you feel. So if you need a little more help, again, just take a breath forcefully in and a little forcefully out, and see what you notice. And if this seems accessible to you, great. Just continue. See if you can be as curious as possible around what might possibly be there. As if we've never explored it before, as if it has so much to teach you. Bring a little bit of awe and wonder into this activity. And if it feels a little bit more difficult, just be open that this experience could change. Be open that there possibly could be something there. And having a lot of compassion for yourself of this is great. You're trying. We're going to be here. I'm just going to let myself explore in a curious way. No negative self-talk. Let go of any ideas that I'm not able to do this as she's explaining it. Everything that you're doing right now in this moment is exactly the step that you need in order to lead to the next one. And so it's a bit of a celebration that you're there. Have compassion and love and celebrate. Notice that exact moment when your inhale starts. What sensation indicates that your inhale has started? And there's just a moment between your inhale and your exhale. Might feel like a pause. Explore that. Sometimes it happens so quickly. It requires really deep concentration to notice it. Certainly to explore it. And notice your full exhale as soon as that starts. Throughout the duration, noticing the change in sensations that happen. And then right when it stops. And then that pause between your exhale and then the next inhale. See if you can notice it. See if you can explore it. See what you can find there. Just continue exploring every breath. Every breath is a little different than the last one. We breathe 22,000 times a day. Oxygen exchange with the trees and the plants. What an amazing feat that is. And notice any differences from one breath to the next. But to do that, we have to be so curious and have so much concentration to really notice those subtle things. You may notice different qualities of your breath as well. That breath seemed long. That breath seemed shorter. That breath seemed shallow. Or that breath seemed deep. That breath seemed quick. Just allow it to be exactly as it is, and it may change. Just notice the change and allow it to be exactly as it is every moment that you experience it. We're practicing our concentration and our equanimity, leading to more clarity in our senses and discernment. So many other benefits that come along with meditation in our lives. As your mind wanders, bring it back again lovingly, with a little celebration that that is the opportunity to exercise your brain muscle, if we might term it that. That's the effort that creates new neural pathways, is the bringing it back. So it's actually a celebration. If you get to do that 1,000 times, wonderful. As your mind wanders, bring it back. Might sit back again to whatever that other thought was, or an attention to a sensation in your body, a sound outside. Wonderful, bring it back again. And as soon as it goes, it might be the next millisecond later, just bring it back again. Every time with compassion and curiosity. You don't want to miss any breath. Coming back to the most exciting movie. Oh, what was that? What did I miss? I don't want to miss anything else in this time that I've set aside. See if you can approach it with that attitude. Noticing that inhale, that moment between your inhale and your exhale, that moment between your exhale and your inhale. And as your mind wanders, bring it back again. When you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes and open your eyes. It's always helpful to orient, to look around the room after you've had your eyes closed for some time. Get that spatial awareness again. Thank you so much for joining for that meditation. Another comment I wanted to add in, one of my teachers, Shinzen Young, calls the idea of meditation, this resilience that we gain, anti-fragility. And I really like that term, as it means we still actually experience all the stress, but we are less fragile to its effects. So it's that idea of like, I'm more resistant to it is really not the case. We actually fully experience it. We are just less fragile. The example, a little analogy that I use is if rain is pouring down, which is the stress that you experience in your day, and you're wearing a cotton coat, that just all soaks in and you're going to be sopping wet, and you go about your day and you're sopping wet and that's heavy on you. And if you go out in a raincoat, you feel the stress. If it's pounding down, you're going to feel every drop just the same, especially if it's a really thin raincoat, maybe it's a garbage bag. You feel every single drop, but it doesn't weigh you down in that current task. It doesn't weigh you down in any of the tasks that you're going to do after that, it doesn't weigh you down for the rest of the day. And so you can continue to go about your whole day or a week or a month or whatever that is with still a lightness, even though you're still experiencing every single drop fully. And in fact, you might be able to feel every drop more fully, rather than if you got a big bunchy coat that's just totally sopping wet with all the stress and trying to go through your day. And how would that feel compared to a lightness of having a garbage bag where rain just rolls off you? And that, I just feel like more and more I resonate with that analogy, that it creates less fragility to the stress that we experience, even though we experience it more fully. Thank you so much for joining here on Myths of Mindfulness, Meditation. I keep calling it that, Myths of Meditation. You feel free to reach out. I'm going to post a link below as well for if you are interested in any meditation courses. You can add yourself to our sign-up sheet there. There are still a couple events coming up for Naturopathic Medicine Week. You can check out the NSAND Facebook page to find tickets to all of those events. They're all through Eventbrite. We hope to see you there. Have an amazing week.